Hi, this is Alan Stout from Visit Luzerne County, and we have a little bit of Visit Luzerne County extra here this week. We're doing a special video for our social media to help advance and preview the 20th annual Scranton Jazz Festival, which will be coming up on August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And here with us at the train station at our office today is Mr. Marko Marcinko, the founder and organizer of this event that is now going into its
20th year.
Second decade. So First of all, congratulations on the milestone and the anniversary, Marko.
Thank you.
That's a lot of work.
A lot of work.
A lot of hours put in to putting all this together.
Could you imagine over 20 years how many hours that is? If I was paid $1 for each hour.
Well, when people talk about, and I've known Marko for, oh boy.
More than 20 years.
More than 20, yeah. I think I first met Marko in 1999 when he joined the Mere Mortals.
Yeah.
And you played on the Mere Mortals record.
Yeah.
And then Goslow knew you with Bent Blue, which was another great rock project you were in. But as I got to know you more over the years, it became clear to myself and so many people in northeastern Pennsylvania that you are really a connoisseur of jazz.
Yes.
And so before we get talking about the festival, which we will in a minute, I promise.
Okay.
I want to talk about that with you personally, your love for jazz. I know that a lot of it has to do with your family and your father.
Yeah.
And so for those unfamiliar with your history with jazz, can you share with us?
Well, I come from a musical family. My dad and my grandfather. My grandfather, I'll start there. My grandfather, who was Pat Marcinko, he was a coal miner. He worked in the coal mines, but he was also a amateur drummer and was in a polka band with his brother Nick was an accordion player, and there was a group called the Rhythm Kings in Oliphant, Pennsylvania, Jessup area. So, you're talking about people that worked in the mines during the day, and then on the weekends they played music. So he was a musician, very talented, Renaissance type of guy, and died at a young age because of the mines, of course. And then my dad, who was an educated musician who went to the University of Miami, got a music degree there, as well as a Russian language degree from there. Then went to Fordham University and studied there for his master's, and he was a composer, and he was a music educator in the Scranton School District. And then all my older brothers and sisters, they're all musicians. Oh, wow. And then I'm the youngest, and I went to the University of Miami following my parents, and I got a degree in music and yada, 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 and there it is.
There you are. So, as I said, when you talk about northeastern Pennsylvania and you talk about jazz, it's almost impossible for Marko's name not to come up in the conversation right away, at the top of the conversation. So the festival, coming up on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd of August, 20 years. Let's talk about who's playing this year. You've got some terrific headliners, of course, and then the roster just filled out all throughout venues all around Scranton. Looks like about 20 venues, and it looks like, I'm looking at your poster here, about at least 20 or so performers. Talk about the music.
Well,
what do you got?
We got the headliner, of course, on Saturday, August 2nd, is Tower of Power, funk, soul, jazz, legendary group, been touring longer than 50 years, formed about 1968, great horn band, 2 trumpets, 3 saxophones, piano, bass, drums, guitar, lead singer. Some of their hits going back to the 70s, What Is Hip is one of them, Don't Change Horses, You're Just a Young Man. I know Joe Nardone, when I told him I was going to have Tower of Power, he said, "Oh, you're just a young man," because Joe Nardone, of course, he loves that doo-wop sound, and on that particular song, besides the great horn arrangement, they have a great vocal arrangement too. So they're a major win for us. We've had some amazing acts in the past, and this kind of fits right in that mold of when we had the Average White Band or Spyro Gyra, Chuck Mangione, the Manhattan Transfer, some of these big names. Tower of Power is like right at the right at the top of the list. So we're very fortunate because usually they're in Europe during the summer. But the Europe thing got moved around, and they were able to make this date work on a Saturday, let alone, and we were able to snag them. So we're very fortunate to have that. And then on Sunday, our other ticketed event, which happens at the Scranton Cultural Center, which is our main venue in Scranton for the festival this year, Saturday and Sunday. Then the other main event is our Scranton Jazz Festival Big Band, which had an Emmy nomination for a show that we did concerning the Nutcracker Suite by Shorty Rogers, that we did a wonderful production at WVIA, and it got nominated for an Emmy Award. And so we're the Emmy-nominated Scranton Jazz Festival Big Band. It's a 17-piece big band, and our guest artists are going to celebrate the 20 years of the festival. So I brought back artists that have appeared at the festival over the 20 years to play with the band. Wow. So it's going to be really exciting.
I mean, just, I know that you have the relationship within the jazz community at this point to book talent like this. How important is it when you're talking to someone like Tower of Power, to Commander Chuck Mangione, or some of the others you brought in over the years at this point, that this event has the reputation that it has, that the Scranton Jazz Festival is something that a group like Tower of Power would say, oh yeah, we would be up for that.
I got to tell you something. I'm glad you asked me that, because I remember contacting, we had Stanley Clark one year, the great virtuoso of the bass, legend. And when I talked to his people, they said to me, oh, we want to play that festival. We've heard about it. And, we worked it out for him to come back in, I think it was 2017 or something like that. But they sounded me just like what you were saying. And I get solicitations through email, people that I'm very surprised, saying, hey, is there a possibility, when's the festival? Or we know it's in August, what weekend? Is there a way we could work it out? We're playing in Newport, Rhode Island. Can we play there on Friday and play you guys on Saturday? So it's out there and people know about it, and it's gained a really good reputation, because I think a lot of musicians that come to it and perform at it, they talk afterwards and they'll tell their managers, and wow, we were in Scranton. We had a great time. The food was amazing. The festival was amazing. They treated us really well. So
beautiful venues.
Yeah. So it's all working out. It's all working out.
Let's get a little more detail. We're gonna, you could go to Visit Luzerne County, our website, and of course you could go to the ScrantonJazzFestival.org website and get all the information on the complete roster and all the venues. But like I said, about 20 venues here, I would say, Marko, looking at this. You're all over Scranton.
Yes.
And at least about 20 acts performing as well.
Over 90 musicians.
90 musicians coming in for a couple of days. And some of the events are ticketed, and then some of them are free. They're on the jazz.
Yeah, like for instance, on Friday night, you could come to downtown Scranton from 5:30 until 1 o'clock in the morning, and you could pick one of 20 different venues, if not more, on Friday night. And you could see anything from our student jazz ensembles that are performing to the pros that are coming internationally from other parts of the world. We have Ilona Knopfler, French jazz vocalist, and we have Dr. Eddie Severin, who originally hails from Wales, coming in. We have musicians that are from Brazil, Puerto Rico, so it's a real mixed bag. And if you want to hear blues music, you could hear blues. If you want to hear some world beat music, some reggae, or some Caribbean, we even have the EC Steel Drum Project that does a lot of Caribbean and that kind of calypso steel drum pan playing, and they're performing on Friday. So you come, you look at the schedule on the website. There's a map there. You look at the map, you see all the places where all the venues are. You show up, you can walk around if it's a beautiful night. And another caveat is we have a shuttle, 2 shuttles that drive this really cool kind of thing, and they'll pick you up and they'll take you wherever you want to go.
Take you to the other venues.
Yeah, it's great.
I did notice a couple of great regional artists amid all of those nationally touring artists. Dustin Douglas, who we know well here in Wilkes-Barre and in northeastern Pennsylvania. Teddy Young and the Ace is a great blues artist. Young Lion, a very talented reggae band. So there's some diversity in there, as Marko said.
Yeah.
Marko, when it comes back to jazz itself, though, it's such a part of the American fabric when it comes to music. Ken Burns did that incredible documentary about it, which was very Kensberg-esque, like at least 8 hours if Ken Burns is going to do it. What is it about the music that you love?
Well, the thing that you said about the fabric, jazz is in everything. If it wasn't for this music, I consider it the greatest export. A lot of people do, actually. It's the greatest export that the U.S. has ever given the world, because it really changed a lot of things. When you think about Louis Armstrong and the way that he started singing and scat singing and his phrasing and his style, if it wasn't for that influence right then and there, what he did, he changed everything in music. And right up to today, you listen to a contemporary rock singer or R&B singer or pop singer, and Louis Armstrong's phrasing is still in there. Mm-hmm. So jazz is very important, and jazz is what I consider true democracy, because you have musicians that are playing together, listening to one another, negotiating right in the moment with one another, and creating something that's pleasant and enjoyable for everyone else around them, hopefully. And it really demonstrates a sense of democracy, and it is, American made. It is born here. It is everything that you want to say that happened in New Orleans, the true melting pot that was, that just spread throughout the country, and then that spread throughout the world. So it's very important for us to preserve it and to honor it, and know that it's truly American, and be proud of it,
And we also, when we had Neil Prisco in here a while back to talk about the Wilkes-Barre Cavalcade of Jazz, which you helped us get off the ground last year, just the musicianship in the jazz community is always, the reputation of jazz players is often on a different level. So if you just appreciate people with great chops alone, jazz is certainly something that you want to explore. Marko, we wish you all the best with this event. We thank you for coming in. Again, ticket information available at ScrantonJazzFestival.org, and you could also find the complete roster of all the bands, all the venues, mapping it out. Everything you need to know is right there in that one-stop shop at ScrantonJazzFestival.org. Marko, we wish you all the best, and
Thanks,
congratulations again on 20 great years.
Thanks, Alan. Thanks for having me. Thank you, everyone.